So I've been feeling a little down and anxious this week, and I would like to do a treat yourself day. Most importantly, take care of yourself or self-care and improve my mental health. So let's go. So, part of my self care is going to my favorite places that actually help me calm down and feel a lot better mentally and emotionally and even physically. So, I am walking through La Jolla and I found this really cool mural. I think it's the neatest. I just took some TikTok videos for my account and I just think this is so cool. And I know I'm not supposed to be walking right now, but I paid $9 for parking in La Jolla and it is crazy, and so I'm gonna get my money's worth. I bet you can't guess where my second favorite place is. I actually had to redo this audio because it was really windy at Torrey Pines Glider Port, but part of the reason that this is my favorite spot is because it has obviously a beautiful view, and my husband and I actually got married in the spot that I'm pointing to. So next on the list is food. Yes, eating food is self-care. Without having proper or adequate amount of food, you can't function. And Chipotle bowls are my favorite. I love the veggie ones. And yeah, so let's go. So you can't have a treat yourself day without Ulta. Which mask to get? There's so many choices. Okay, call me crazy, but I love clearance stuff. Literally my favorite. They have so many things on sale. I just don't know what to get. Purple, purple, purple. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, so in spirit for Halloween, I'm gonna do these.
The next day.
So I'm back, and what was supposed to be a one day of self-care or dedicating time to myself kind of turned out to be like a 2-day thing. Yesterday I went to my favorite places. I went to La Jolla, which is like, even though it's super crowded and kind of touristy, it's like I love just going to the beach, and so it just feels really good to be there for me. And I also made sure that I got like the adequate amount of food that I'm supposed to eat. I made sure that I was pampered. I went to Ulta and got my hair dye. I re-dyed my hair this morning. And what else did I get there? Ooh, I got this really cool little eyeshadow kit. It's purple and I am just like super excited to use it, and it's not like a necessary thing, but it's just something that's really exciting and fun and just makes me feel like I am deserving to have cool and neat things. Oh, and today I'm just laying around in my pajamas and painting my toenails and watching Friends. Like, best thing ever. Now that I've thrown around the term self-care a couple times, you're probably wondering what exactly I mean by self-care, and you're probably on the right direction when you think of self-care. You've probably seen it in blogs or in magazines because it's such a, it's not a new topic, but it's something that is, I think, being recognized how important self-care is. Self-care, the true definition of it, because it's really hard to sorry, my hands are purple because I, like I said, dyed my hair earlier today and it got purple. Anyhow, self-care is really hard to define because it can be something that is so unique to each individual. Self-care is just making sure that your mental and emotional well-being is taken care of. And it is something that's really, really important, yet we forget it so often. And I know from personal experiences, at least with medical or like mental health facilities or doctors, they really stress it because it can do amazing things for your self-esteem and just your overall physical health also, because if you're taking care of yourself and you're striving to just get your basic needs met, even if it's like your emotional needs or your mental health needs, you're going to like see this overall positive influence or impact on your life. I think one really great example for me, at least personally, for self-care and how impactful self-care is on your mental health would be my eating disorder. Prior to prioritizing food and making sure that I was feeding myself, I was really struggling mentally, like, and physically. It was really hard for me not to, I don't know, it wasn't overreacting, but if my body doesn't have enough food, like the basic requirements, then how is my emotional state going to work? So I'm not saying self-care is just boiled down to food or like even the most basic things, but it kind of is, because whatever meets your basic requirement or like improves your emotional or mental well-being is self-care. And it can be really hard to remember to take care of ourselves or essentially implement like a self-care routine. It wasn't until I really started paying attention and putting in a strategic plan as to how to improve my self-care routine. I said routine a lot in that like last sentence, I feel like. Anyhow, it wasn't until I started really strategizing my self-care that my mental health and my emotional state really started to improve. And how can you start getting into the routine of having self-care? Well, exactly that. Start with the most basic thing, like your hair or your nails. Like, make sure you take care of them. Brush your hair or do your nails. Make sure you get the adequate amount of sleep. Make sure that you're eating enough. Like, those are technically self-care, and then you can build up to it. And once you get your routine down, then you can step it up, and it becomes a lot easier to just start doing your self-care every day and not really having to think about it. This is another weird thing that like kind of held me back, or like I struggled with at the beginning, was feeling really guilty for practicing self-care. Because I grew up in like a challenging household as a child, I did not pick up the most healthy of behaviors out there, and along with that came guilt for making sure or prioritizing my needs over others. And not saying now that I'm not like I'm not saying I'm selfish now, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but I recognize when I need to take care of myself, and if it's something that isn't like necessarily in the best interest or like fits into the schedule of other people and I really need to get my self-care, I'm not afraid to say, hey, like, can I do this later? I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. And that's something that like I think a lot of people with mental illness struggle with, or someone who's grown up in a toxic household as a child. We feel really guilty for practicing self-care for our basic needs. So that's essentially all I have about self-care. It's exactly what it sounds like, making sure that you get your basic requirements for your emotional or your mental health well-being met on a daily basis. And I actually plan on doing like, I guess, a mini series on what gave me happiness or what led me to happiness. And this is number 1, the basics of self-care, and it's led me to becoming a happier individual. So if you like this video, please like it, please share it, and if you want more content or you want to stay up to date with all my videos, please subscribe. I will see you guys next week. Bye!